Funny story. All I had to do was show these deer my PSE bow and they just tipped over. If you want the same thing to happen to you, I want to make it easy. PSE giveaway. All you gotta do, like, subscribe, comment to be entered in the giveaway. Simple enough. You want to be cool? You want a PSE? That's all you gotta do. What's up, guys? It's the time of the year in which, I hate to say it, some of you guys like doing this more than you actually like hunting. And you know, as I get a little bit older and finally have my own property and all these other things, it's something that I almost think about more than the hunt even sometimes, you know. And this is a topic for another day, but sometimes the hunt, I like the hunt, but I like building the property and I like creating the story around certain deer and things like that. So with one of those things, you know, being shed hunting, we're going to hit on some of those topics today. We're going to hit on a topic or two that, man, I don't know, that I hear a ton of people talk about, and it's super simple. You know, we're not going to talk about, oh, go find sheds on gloomy days and things like that. And that's fine and dandy, but, you know, those quick tips, they'll help you with shed hunting. But there's a tip that I like to use to increase the amount of sheds that I find on a property, and makes it easier when finding sheds. And you don't have to break the bank, okay, to do this. You don't have to have anything special. You don't have to have 500 acres of food plots. You don't have to have a single acre of food plots in this case. You don't even necessarily need the cover. And if we talk about food, cover, water, you know, obviously those are things you generally need to hold deer, especially into the late season. But, you know, we can manipulate some of that stuff, and I'm going to get into some of that today. So, you know, I'm not going to give you the quick tip, hey, walk a lot of miles and go and look, you know, on gloomy days and things like that, walk your food plots. That's not what I'm going to go over today. There's something that I like doing and I recommend to my clients doing in every case possible where legal, okay? So there's a lot of benefits to using this tip and tactic, other than just finding sheds. It's honestly, where legal, you guys should be doing this anyway, okay? But you should be doing it strategically, and you should be doing this right. You should be using supplemental feed to find more sheds. What do I mean? Well, here's the thing. Before we even get into it, even if you guys don't listen to the rest of this video, listen to this, because I'm going to do you a favor that is going to help you have a more healthy deer herd. Supplemental feed where legal. You know, some of you, let's face it, some of you are going to supplemental feed regardless. With a product like Big and J has. My favorite is BB squared. Okay, the perk to BB squared is it's high in fat and it's high in protein. Okay. Not to get too scientific on you guys, but if we give the deer corn, you just throw down corn for these deer in a place like Wisconsin where maybe they haven't had corn for months. And what happens is, from a biological standpoint, their metabolism slows down and they have an issue digesting certain foods. And in this case, corn could be one of them. Okay. So then what happens? Well, if they can't digest the food, what happens is they start to bloat and they can die of something called rumen acidosis. So you think you're doing yourself a favor by throwing corn down. You're setting up your shed traps and you're throwing corn down. And all these other things. And shed traps, for those of you that don't know what they are, you can Google them. I don't do it because you could ruin the pedicle. You know, the basically where the base of the antler grows from on your deer for future years and get weird antlers. But a lot of you are throwing corn down. Don't do that. Don't do that, especially in places where the deer haven't had corn for months. You can gorge your deer to death and lose deer, okay? And a lot of you think you're doing a favor by feeding these deer late in the season when you get the cold spurts. You need to be feeding high protein, high fat, like BB squared. So I kind of gave away the quick tip already, but if you guys put this down, you're going to you're going to be benefiting the deer the following year, because they're going to be able to basically recoup their body mass a bit quicker, which is ultimately going to keep them healthier, which is going to help with antler production in the coming year. Thankfully, we work with Big and J, and we're able to use these products pretty often. And so I've been able to see it on my properties and throughout the country. Kentucky, we use it all the time. If you've watched our early season hunting video, using this stuff, and it's only gonna be beneficial to your deer herd. And then you're going to concentrate the area in which you are likely to find sheds. Hell, you might even find sheds right on the pile, right on the Big and J pile, or on the Big and J feeder that you run, which is great. And like I said, it's still benefiting the deer, so that's what's really important here. But if you want to find those sheds, put a lot of Big and J in your feeders throughout this time of the year, this January through March into April, and you'll find more sheds on your property. So like I said, you might find them in that given area. Maybe they knock them off on the feeder or whatever the case is, and that'd be a perk to using a feeder instead of a shed trap. We don't want these deer getting caught in these areas and ripping their antlers off. But in the surrounding areas, do circles around these areas, and it is likely as the deer come and go from these areas that you'll be able to find more sheds. Especially, I'm picturing a property of mine that I'm thinking of here. I know where the bedding areas are based off a historical sign. So guess what I'm doing? I'm running trails back and forth in between, and I'm most likely going to find more sheds by running those trails. So it's not necessarily about you walking the food plots. It can be. It's not necessarily about walking just the bedding areas. It can be. But your supplemental feed areas are going to be beneficial to the deer and also beneficial to your shed hunting. And if anything else, even if you're not interested in finding sheds, you should be supplemental feeding with high protein, high fat food source so that your deer can bounce back quicker the next year. So if anything else, is a great way for you to find sheds, but also a better way to build a better, bigger, stronger deer herd. If you like these quick tips, you like these videos, like, comment, subscribe. Always doing giveaways. If you guys like free stuff, you're in the right place. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.